name is Peter Parfitt, and in the next few minutes I'm going to tell you about this, the FESTOOL CTL26 extractor. I've had this one for about 6 months, and I'm very pleased with it. Now when you buy it, you get the extractor, you get this hose caddy fitted on top, you get a cable tidy at the rear, and incidentally there's 7.5 metres of cable. It comes with a 27mm hose, which is 3.5 metres long, and the hose plugs in like so. It also comes with just one Cleantex self-cleaning filter bag, and I'll talk about these in a minute. Now the machine has caster wheels at the front and large wheels at the back. There is a brake, and so you can wheel the machine around. I'll apply the brake so it doesn't fall off the bench. It's a powerful machine up to 1200 watts, and that power can be adjusted here. And when it's at full power, it's delivering 3,900 litres a minute of suction, and that's at a rating of 24,000 Pascal. Now what that set of figures means is that this is a particularly powerful workshop extractor. Now the control here at the front is the on-off and auto control. You can put it in a manual position where the machine starts up and it stays on all the time until you turn it back to the central off position. You can put it in an auto position. Then if you have a power tool plugged into the socket at the front, when you start the power tool, the extractor will automatically start. When you turn the power tool off, the extractor will run for a few more seconds and then switch itself off automatically. I've installed a second socket at the front here, which is an optional extra provided by FESTOOL. There is a carrying handle inside here, which you can't quite see at the moment. It has a noise rating level of just 71 decibels, and that means you can use it all day without ear defenders. I'm going to now show you what goes on inside. Now in order to install a new filter bag or to change the one that's in there, you have to remove the motor unit. There are two catches, one either side, and all you do is you put a thumb in there, like so, same on the other side, and lift the motor unit away. Now I have a brand new filter bag which I put in a few minutes ago. It's held in with a catch here, the green catch, and that is the new filter bag. You can see there's a cardboard support at the front end of the filter bag, and that fits over the end of the nozzle which comes in from the front of the machine, and you then allow the catch to go down into place. Now I should point out to you just how clean the inside of this whole body is. I have not cleaned that. That is exactly how it is after 6 months of use. I find that quite amazing. Now these filter bags are very clever. When the machine is running, all the dust and detritus comes into here, and by some clever mechanism which I don't know how it works, when you switch the machine off, the bag collapses on itself, and all of the dust which normally you'd expect to be caked to the inside of the filter bag, it drops off. And when I've taken a full bag out of here, you find that the dust is concentrated into a lump, and yet the bag itself seems to be free of dust. I just don't know how it works, but it is very, very clever. It means that the bag retains its filtering capacity right to the very end. Now, on the underside of the motor unit, we have the main filter here. And these are exchangeable. You can put in a new one if required, but you can also clean them. Now there it is, very easy to take out. You can give it a clean using another vacuum machine or whatever. Now this filter has an enormous area. It has an area of over 6,200 square centimetres, and that's a lot. Right, so if I put this back together, we'll then be ready to put the machine through its paces. That's it, ready to go. Right, I'm just going to show you the setup here I've got the extractor mounted on a table, you'll see why in a minute, and I've got my Capex saw, and I've cleaned up the whole saw area, as you can perhaps see on this shot here. So it's all nice and clean. Right, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to take this piece of wood and I'm going to cut it millions and zillions of times, and then we'll look at just how much dust is not going into the extractor. First of all, I've got the extractor set in the auto position, I've got it on full power, the Capex is plugged in here, the extractor is plugged into the main socket. And the hose, this now is a 36mm hose, I'll talk about that in a minute, and here's my Capex. When I start the saw, the extractor's going. So I'm now going to do a few cuts and then we'll look at how much debris is created. Well, I just don't know how well this shows up, to be honest, but I've done more cuts than I filmed, and quite a few of them there, and there's hardly any dust to be seen around the saw. There is some, you'd expect some, but it's not a great deal. That's pretty impressive. One of the most difficult machines in the workshop to pick up dust from is a radial arm saw or something like the Capex here, because they're chunking into wood, it's going in sawdust all over the place, and getting the right amount of suction here can be difficult. What I chose to do was to use a 36mm hose to give the maximum suction here at the point of sawing, and I thought the little demo really did prove that even with a saw like this it can be done. There are other tools like the TS55 and this big router, the OF2200, which really do benefit from having the 36mm hose. But tools like the Domino and my Rotex 90, they're perfectly okay with the 27mm hose which is supplied with the extractor. Perhaps it's a pity that when one's buying an extractor like this and you know you would perhaps benefit from a 36mm hose, it's a pity that FESTOOL don't give some sort of deal at the time of purchase of the extractor whereby you get the 36mm hose a little cheaper. But there we go, there it goes. You can plug in a 50mm hose into the front of the machine if you wanted to extend your suction capability over a long distance, and then you would terminate with either a 36 or a 27mm tail to the actual tool. Now, I think that despite what I said about having to buy the 36mm hose, I think that this was a good purchase for me. When you try and judge any FESTOOL piece of equipment, it's very difficult to judge it entirely in isolation because they're part of a family. And it may be because they share common accessories, or in this case, all of these tools have one important thing in common, and that is this extractor. And my satisfaction with all of these tools has a huge amount to do with this extractor. You've seen perhaps my video of the OF2200 and how good that is when used in combination with this extractor. Dust, very little. Some of you have probably seen my video of the big DF700 Domino, and again, that works so brilliantly because I had this extractor. So, you know, it does pay to get kit which is designed to work with other bits of kit. So that was the approach here. It was expensive, but frankly, you know, you pay your money, you get your choice. And if you want quality, you've got to pay for it. And I'm very, very pleased with this, and I'd recommend it to anyone.